The Library of Alexandria contained every book in the ancient world, every scroll of Greek philosophy, every text of Egyptian science, every work of mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. Then someone burned it, and humanity lost 2,000 years of knowledge in a single night. The Library of Alexandria was the greatest repository of human knowledge the ancient world ever produced. At its peak, it held an estimated 400,000 to 700,000 scrolls. To put that in modern terms, that is roughly equivalent to 100,000 books. In an era when most cities had no libraries at all, Alexandria had assembled the written knowledge of the entire Mediterranean world under one roof. The library was founded around 283 BC by Ptolemy I, one of Alexander the Great's generals who took control of Egypt after Alexander's death. Ptolemy understood that knowledge was power. He and his successors pursued the acquisition of scrolls with an obsession that bordered on mania. Every ship that entered the harbor of Alexandria was searched by royal officials. Any scrolls found on board were confiscated and brought to the library. Scribes copied the scrolls, and the copies, not the originals, were returned to the ship. The library kept the originals. This policy was applied to every vessel, regardless of origin, for over 2 centuries. The result was a collection that contained works from every civilization the Mediterranean world had contact with. Greek philosophy, Egyptian medicine, Babylonian astronomy, Persian mathematics, Indian religious texts. The library's catalog alone, a document listing every scroll by title, author, and subject, reportedly filled 120 scrolls. The scholars who worked in the library made discoveries that would not be matched for 1,000 years. Eratosthenes calculated the circumference of the Earth to within 2% accuracy using nothing but a stick, a well, and geometry. Aristarchus proposed that the Earth revolved around the Sun 1,800 years before Copernicus. Herophilus performed the first systematic human dissections and identified the brain as the center of the nervous system. All of these works were housed in the library. Most are now lost. The destruction of the Library of Alexandria was not a single event. It was a slow death by multiple wounds, spread over centuries. The first major damage likely occurred in 48 BC during Julius Caesar's civil war. Caesar was besieged in Alexandria by the forces of Ptolemy XIII. He ordered his soldiers to set fire to the ships in the harbor to prevent the enemy fleet from trapping him. The fire spread to the docks and warehouses along the waterfront. Ancient sources disagree on whether the fire reached the main library building, but it almost certainly destroyed a large collection of scrolls stored in the harbor warehouses. The second blow came in 272 AD, when the Roman Emperor Aurelian invaded Alexandria to suppress a rebellion. The fighting was concentrated in the Bruchian district, where the library was located. The district was heavily damaged. The third and possibly fatal blow came in 391 AD, when the Christian Emperor Theodosius I issued a decree ordering the destruction of all pagan temples in the Roman Empire. The Serapeum, a temple complex that housed a daughter library of the main collection, was destroyed by a Christian mob led by Theophilus, the Patriarch of Alexandria. The scrolls inside were reportedly burned. By the time of the Muslim conquest of Egypt in 642 AD, the library had effectively ceased to exist for centuries. The scale of what was lost is difficult to comprehend. We know from references in surviving texts that the library contained the complete works of hundreds of authors whose writings have entirely vanished. The playwright Sophocles wrote over 120 plays. We have 7. The mathematician Apollonius of Perga wrote extensively on conic sections. We have fragments. The historian Berossus wrote a complete history of Babylon in 3 volumes. We have quotations preserved in other authors' works. Historians estimate that we possess less than 1% of what the Library of Alexandria contained. 99% of the ancient world's accumulated written knowledge was destroyed. Some of that knowledge was independently rediscovered centuries later. Some was preserved in Arabic translations during the Islamic Golden Age and eventually returned to Europe. But much of it, works of literature, science, philosophy, and history that existed in single copies on papyrus scrolls, is gone forever. The Library of Alexandria is history's greatest cautionary tale. It demonstrates that knowledge, no matter how vast, is fragile. It can take centuries to accumulate and a single generation of neglect, warfare, or ideology to destroy. 23 centuries of human thought. Collected, catalogued, and housed in one building on the coast of Egypt. And then, piece by piece, fire by fire, decree by decree, erased from the face of the earth. If you found this fascinating, subscribe for more stories like this. We post new videos every week.